Hey, as I mentioned, this coming weekend is the 20th anniversary of the Cecil Jarvis Greater Clarksburg 10K. It's a race that attracts runners from all over West Virginia, all over the country, and indeed all over the world. Jeff Galloway, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. And first of all, let me congratulate you for the great job you do in this community and
Well,
getting the
thanks.
word out about positive events that change people's lives, like this event this weekend.
And this event is one that, I often wondered when it started. Is this something that can be sustained? West Virginia always gets a bad rap, Jeff, about we're an unhealthy state. We don't take care of ourselves like we should. We don't. We're on the top of every bad list and the bottom of every good list. So I wondered when this got started if it would be something that could be sustained. And not only has it been sustained, it's growing. And this isn't your first time here. So you ought to be pretty pleased about the success that you see a small community like Clarksburg have when you can draw 1,500 runners to an event like this.
Absolutely. I love races in West Virginia, and I was actually the first winner in the Charleston distance run.
Is that right?
Absolutely. Just a great event. This is a great event, and it's due to the vision of people like Carl Hatfield, who's with us here. Carl and I have been friends since 1970, and he developed a vision early to bring the joys of fitness to this community. And look at this.
Absolutely.
1,500 people.
Hey, listen, a little bit about your background. You're an Olympian runner. You've been running all your life. We talked a little bit about my passion for entrepreneurship. When you get to turn what you love to do into a business, and you can make money at it and take care of your family, and in your case, see the country and see the world, that's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Well, it is, and quite honestly, I thought I was going to be a teacher. I taught for 1 year. The classroom wasn't for me, but I did want to teach. I wanted to teach the wonderful benefits of fitness that I was feeling, and a lot of people in 1970 were not. So I spent my next 2 years developing first a running store called Fidipides, and out of the store we would hold clinics and put on races and put on training groups, and as a result people started coming, and we built our little Peachtree Road race in Atlanta to now over 65,000 people.
65,000 people.
Started with 110.
Really?
Yeah.
How about that? Tell us about your Olympic experience and what that was like.
Well, I was an unexpected qualifier. It was the first time that I had ever run internationally. I focused on my training for 2 years leading up to that and improved every 6 months. I had downs too, and this is one thing that anyone who is training for a strenuous goal is going to experience. But I kept the focus. I put it together on race day. And I used my strategy. Most people who get into an Olympic trials experience go out with the leaders and try to hang on as long as they can. I knew that that wouldn't work for me. I knew that I had to run what's called a negative split. That means that you run the second half faster. And this is what I did. And the experience was just amazing in Munich.
Have you counted all the races? Do you ever keep track of the number?
I have tried to estimate it. I've run now 209 marathons, and that's just marathons.
Right.
I've run more half marathons than that, and then, of course, just lots and lots of 5Ks and 10Ks. So I would guess it to be around 1,000.
Wow. Well, that's a lot of running.
It is, but I developed a technique, and this is one thing I wanted to mention this morning. It's called run, walk, run. And almost anyone in our society can do this and get the amazing brain benefits, even if you only run for 5 to 10 seconds.
Talk a little bit about that. You're known for your books. You've authored this concept. You've sold more than 1 million books worldwide. What is the run, walk, run concept, and how does that work? You talk about brain activity.
Well, the brain activity goes back 20 years, in which they discovered devices that could safely scan brains and see which activities turn circuits on. And it has been determined that running turns on the good attitude circuit, the vitality circuit, and the personal empowerment circuit better than any other activity. Going farther, any type of exercise, walking or other exercise, will turn on the brain for better memory, for quicker decision making, for better decision making, and new growth of brain cells. Running, even in short amounts of 5 to 10 seconds, can actually stimulate all of those to the highest level that they found. So even if you only run for 5 seconds and walk the rest of the minute, your brain is going to activate at a higher level. But I also want to say, if all you want to do is walk, you're going to change your brain if you do it regularly. So come out this weekend and walk in the Cecil Jarvis Greater Clarksville 10K.
My guest is Jeff Galloway. He's fondly considered America's running coach. He is a noted author. He conducted a runner's clinic last night at Robert C. Byrd High School. Had a bunch of folks coming out for that. That's always fun to see young people and old guys like myself out at the same time. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Well, it was a good mixture of adults and kids who were mostly into running. There were a few that were maybe dragged by their friends, but I heard from a couple of them afterwards that they actually liked what they heard and were going to give the running a try. And when kids start running, they do elevate the changes in the brain so that they set themselves up for a higher level of success in school and in life itself, decision making and so forth. But the adults had questions just on and on until after the clinic. They would come up with all types of great, poignant questions.
This isn't your first time to Clarksburg, I learned just today. You've been here before, haven't you?
I sure have. I love it here. This is really quite a wonderful, supportive community.
Well, this has been a race that has attracted national attention. As Carl said earlier, this race used to be featured on ESPN. We are still a location race where a lot of competitive runners come into. I think there's still a $10,000 in purse funds, right, for winners, Carl?
That's correct, Mike.
So there's still race money that's available for those competitive runners that want to get out there and make a little money.
Right. Our race, for all 20 years of our race, it's been the West Virginia State Championship race. But in the early years, it became a nationally ranked race in that we had, particularly from Africa, Kenyans and Ethiopians, and we've had runners from Canada, England, who come by and try to win prize money. And of course, these are the professional runners. And
man, do they run. It's a real treat to watch them. And they're usually finished way before everybody else is. And then they talk to the crowd. They're personable folks as well. That's got to be exciting to attract those kind of folks, right, Carl?
Well, it's interesting. Running in this aspect is kind of unique in that on race day, the average recreational runner can toe the line with a world record holder. And there's very few sports in which that can happen.
Well, I never thought of it that way. You're right there with. You're not there with them very long, though. Sometimes, right? But
well, that's true.
Hey, folks, we're in the studio here with Jeff Galloway. Jeff Galloway is a running coach. He's fondly considered America's running coach. He is in Clarksburg to help promote the Cecil Jarvis Greater Clarksburg 10K, and of course, with us also is Carl Hatfield, who is the race director for the race and has been for the last 20 years. This is the 20th anniversary of that race. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more with Jeff about the race, about the importance of running, and we're going to get down into the weeds here just a little bit about what that does for us when we do run, when we do walk, far beyond the health benefits, but the mental benefits, the attitude adjustment, as he was talking about just a little bit earlier. So stick with us. You're listening to The Mike Queen Show. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, it's Hoppy Kirchhoff will join me for Metro News Talkline today at 10:06, right after the Mike Queen Show on the voice of Central West Virginia, the AJR News Network.
You're listening to the Mike Queen Show, sponsored by Third Millennium Marketing, your print and sign superstore on the AJR News Network.
Hey, folks, for all of your up-to-date news and sports in the AJR listening area, as well as your most accurate AccuWeather forecast, and to hear the Mike Queen Show online anytime, all you have to do is log on to our website, WAJR.com, WAJR.com, and click on the link at the top of the page that says Listen Live Clarksburg. The AJR News Network is Central West Virginia's #1 news, sports, and talk radio. You can hear the network and the Mike Queen Show on 103.3 FM, 93.5 FM, and 95.7 FM. We cover a 14-county area here in Central West Virginia. My guest today is Jeff Galloway. He is here in Clarksburg in Central West Virginia here this week to help promote the Greater Clarksburg Cecil Jarvis 10K. It's a 20th anniversary of this particular race, and Jeff, this is a big deal for Clarksburg. It's a big deal for Central West Virginia. It's a big deal, as Carl said earlier. It's considered the West Virginia State Running Championship, and we're trying to get more and more people each year to participate in it. Right?
That's right, but don't be intimidated if you're a walker, because we're going to have hundreds of walkers out there, particularly in the 2-mile.
Right. That's what I wanted to ask you about. There's a 2-mile race where folks can come out and walk, support the race, support the venture, support the idea of physical fitness and good health, and everybody can walk 2 miles. Even Mike Queen could walk 2 miles.
Absolutely, Mike. I hope you'll be out there. But, I'll give you a little tip about that, too. Those who have not been walking 2 miles, the secret is to put some shuffle breaks in about every 3 to 5 minutes. What a shuffle break is just moving your walking stride down to baby steps for 30 seconds every 3 to 5 minutes. If you do that from the beginning, you don't overuse your walking muscles, and you don't have to be sore or tired. As a matter of fact, that 2-mile walk, will invigorate your whole week.
Well, let's talk about that a minute. If we can encourage some of our listeners to participate in the 2-mile walk, what should they do between now and Saturday to get ready? What should they wear? And then how do they start the race? How do they finish the race?
Well, Carl was just mentioning earlier that the temperature is predicted to be in the high 50s, which is ideal walking and running temperature. But I would look at some options, because sometimes when the temperature's in the 50s, waiting for the start, you feel a little chilly. So what people do is they'll put on a shirt that they're going to wear, and a lot of the microfiber shirts that you'll find in most stores that sell athletic gear will have. It'll keep you comfortable, and yet you won't build up too much heat. But it is good to have a long sleeve tee over your shirt, whatever shirt you plan to use. And you'd put your number on the shirt that is going to be next to your skin. And then once you start to warm up, you tie the long sleeve tee around your waist, and that way, if you get colder later on, you can put it back on. So look around and find that. A comfortable pair of shorts is all you need. Some like to wear very light wind pants or something like that, and that's fine too. For that temperature, that should be absolutely fine. Now, in terms of exercise, you don't want to overdo it. I mean, if you haven't been walking very long, you want to put those shuffle breaks in during the 2-mile, but just walk about 15 to 20 minutes each day just to get the legs moving. And if you do that, you'll be fine during the event, taking the shuffle breaks.
What about the shoes? This isn't a time to go buy a new pair of shoes, right?
No, you don't. You want to wear a pair of shoes that you are used to walking around in all day. And everybody's got one of those go-to pairs. And so you just wear that and be comfortable. But yes, getting a new pair of shoes right now is going to probably cause problems.
So if on the day of the race you show up, you want to participate in the 2-mile walk, you want to be part of the 20th anniversary of the Cecil Jarvis Greater Clarksburg 10K, the whistle blows, and you do what? What kind of time frame should someone who doesn't walk a lot but wants to participate, what should they do? Yeah.
Well, there will be a tendency to exceed your speed limit early on. You're going to be nervous, you're going to be excited, you're going to see all this energy from other people. You need to restrain that enthusiasm at first. So just get into a comfortable walking pace. Runners need to get into a very comfortable running pace. And I'll have a tip for runners in just a second. But walkers, go down to baby steps every 3 to 5 minutes. Most stopwatches can be set for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. And when it beeps, just go down to baby steps and let the muscles and the legs and the feet recover during that really short shuffle break. Now, runners should take walk breaks. Unless you can win the race or can be in the top 10, you're going to benefit and actually run faster in a 10K if you'll have a strategic walk break every 60 seconds, even every 30 seconds for beginners.
I have friends who say, oh, no, you can't slow down. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. But that's not the advice that you give as it relates to making sure you're a healthy runner and you don't hurt yourself or exceed your expectations physically, right, before the end of the race.
Exactly. The orthopedists, particularly those that have studied the history of mankind, tell us that we really were not designed to run nonstop for very long. Normally, our ancient ancestors only ran for about 200 yards at one time. So if you don't go too far and take a walk break, everything resets itself. The fatigue, the pounding on the feet goes away, the pounding on the joints goes away, and you can keep incrementally going forward. The surprising thing is that the taking of these walk breaks from the beginning actually speeds runners' times up because they don't slow down at the end.
Well, I was just going to ask you, a lot of folks participate in these races to do better each year, and they monitor their times, and they believe that they have to continue to run and run harder, but that's not what I hear you saying.
No, and my method is not based on just what I say. I've heard back individually from well more than 400,000 runners who've used the method. And day by day, I average about another 100 who report in about advice that I've given them and how it worked. And so I have adjusted things according to what works. So it's a reality-based advice structure. And I can tell you for runners, if you insert a walk break early and often as you should, you're the one that's passing people all the way to the end, and there's nothing more empowering than that.
So that's the best advice you can give?
Yes.
Okay. Carl, what is it to have this guy in town? This is pretty cool, right?
Right. Jeff and I, like he said earlier, we go back to 1970, but
that's
Jeff,
not bad for two 39-year-old guys, huh?
I wish. We've been competitors, but we've also been friends for many years, and we actually used to belong to the Florida Track Club, and we actually were on 2 national championship cross-country teams with the Florida Track Club, and but the reason I enjoy Jeff's presence at our race is because he's so well known in the running community, particularly through his monthly column in Runner's World and through all of the 30 books that he's published.
Well, and you can find out more about Jeff at jeffgalloway.com, jeffgalloway.com. Jeff, thank you for being here. I appreciate you.
Thank you, and great job you're doing.
Thank you very much, folks. It's Cecil Jarvis, Greater Clarksburg 10K. You got to get out there more when we come back after these messages.
You're listening